Hey folks, Eric the Old Jarhead here. Welcome back to the channel. I got a fun one for you today. This is a big Ponderosa Pine. It's another one that spans over 24 inches on the big end. And I have the big end facing towards me, which, as you've probably heard me say before, I like on these big logs because I can make sure that I can get past it. And you're going to see some chainsaw work and some other work going on in this video that shows you how I managed to get by that big end despite the fact that it's really too big. So we're going to go through that. I'm going to get this log milled down. We're just going to slab it up. The customer wants some live edge slabs, so we're going to go ahead and get it done for you. You're going to have to change band in the middle of it. We'll make that go pretty quick. Going to change from 747s to bimetals too, and I'll mention that. Then, once I get this done, stick around because I'm going to get out of this location the next morning. And it's quite the little adventure getting out of here, so stick around. Let's let this roll and see how it goes. And of course, there I am, pulling that Husqvarna 455 Rancher out. That's a 50cc saw that I've been using for about a dozen years. It works great, does the job for me. Once I make sure that I can clear things, of course I check the center average, I do that. Pretty standard issue for me. Go down, check the middle of the log, get the average, and then let's get it going. And you'll notice that's pretty wide right there. There's only maybe a couple inches on either side. So we're pushing a good 24 plus, and that's just the first slab. So that's a big log. And look how tough it was to get that slab off the top. It was a bear. Once I got it flattened out on top, I decided to go ahead and roll it over. You'll see that once I roll it over, it's smaller on the other side, so it's going to be easier for me to clear that and knock this down a lot deeper. So I'm going to roll it over, and you can see that I'm fighting it a little bit, and that's one of the disadvantages of a claw clamp on a sawmill, especially when the bark is either really loose and it peels off easily. We tried to get a bunch of it off, but we didn't get it all. And the other problem is, of course, once you get the bark off, it's kind of slick a little bit, a little damp, a little slick, and so that log clamp can actually kind of slip a little bit. But I get it rolled over. Once I got it rolled over, of course, there we go. We're going to get back to it and knock this guy down. One thing you might notice here, especially if you run a mill or if you've just watched a lot of my videos, the band was really howling. You can hear that howl. So I thought, I must have hit something. It's getting pretty dull. And you'll see me right about here. I'm actually going to rub my hand on the top of that log just to kind of feel it, because I felt, it wasn't cutting very well. It was howling a lot at me. It wasn't wavy, but it was a bit on the rough side, and I thought, okay, time to change the band out.
What do you think, Eric? That'll be our last one?
You might be. Yeah, probably. I'm thinking
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I'll have to pull out the old bimetal bands. I don't know if that was just too dry and old, or I dulled that band on something else, but here we were bragging about only running 2 bands a day. And
Jinx, eh?
jinxed ourselves. Because I'm pulling out a 3rd band now. I'm going to pull out my bimetal bands, which are designed for harder stuff. Because that's cut like rock. All right, clean things up a little bit, get that band changed, and we'll get back at it. And you're going to notice that the band is no longer howling. That's kind of one of those keys that you listen for. Another thing that I wanted to mention is you heard me there talk about switching from the 747 1.5-inch bands I was running, which I was only running about 2 a day, which is really quite exceptional. And I switched to the bimetal. The reason is I ran out of 747s and I had brought bimetals with me as a spare. And I thought, since this log is already dry, it's really hard, I'm going to switch to the bimetals. And the bimetals, according to Mizer, were designed for milling burned logs, old farm timbers, any kind of dry, hard wood. They do very well there. So that's what I switched to. And then you'll notice I flipped this guy up, straight up and down. I'm slabbing it. So why would I do that? Well, it was just easier in this case than trying to use the chainsaw, which the chain was getting dull. So I decided I would just flip it up, cut off the bell, then flip it back down again and go back to slabbing it out. Sometimes it's just faster to use the mill versus the chainsaw to kind of square things up a little bit on one end. Even if you're doing live edge, you can't get by there, so you got to do something. All right, we're going to get it knocked down. We're going to let this run, and then I'm going to get this mill out of here, and you'll get to come along with me while I do that. So stick around. Let's get this log mill down and then check out what it took to get out of there. The old Jarheads Road Show is well underway, and I'm headed now to Coeur d'Alene, but I got to get out of this crazy environment first. So steep hill, rough road up and heading to the right this way. I've got to hook up to the sawmill right there, so I got to run the truck straight this way along the tree there, try to sweep down a little bit this way here in front of us, and then make this turn that way so that I can sneak past this sharp turn and try not to rock things all over the place while I'm at it. So stand by, let's see what happens. I made it out. I didn't have to go up the road to the right. I don't know why I was thinking I had to go that way. It's actually to the left. You just can't see it from down here. So not that road, but yes, that way. Boy, I'll tell you, those angles were something fierce coming up out of here, and I was leaning over quite a ways. I didn't have my off-road setting on, but even now you could see I'm leaning over a bit. So I got to get in the truck and get out of here. Oh boy, that was exciting. So I got a good whack of lumber down there. Holy cow, that tire on the inside there is off the ground. I don't like that being off the ground. Good thing those tires are rated to handle a little heavier weight. So let's get rolling. All right, folks. We might have to call this channel the Crazy Old Jarhead. I guess if I was a real YouTuber, see, you don't want to rock a big camper like this around. Okay, so if I was a real YouTuber, third time's a charm, right? Take three. I'd have set up more cameras. I'd have had camera angles going up, down, sideways, and everything else. But I'm just an old jarhead running a sawmill and working on our off-grid cabin in the woods. And, you know, and so I just do videos of what I do. You know, I'd like to have more cameras. Maybe one day I'll get one. I do this because I find it fun. I started doing it for the grandkids, as I've said before, and now I just kind of do it out of habit. It's just something fun to do, to show you what I'm up to, and it seems like some people like to see what I'm up to, so I enjoy it. It's fun. Life is good, and it should be, right? How many noticed the change of covers? You know, Marine doesn't wear a hat, he wears a cover. Actually, the other one is a tilly hat that I wear to keep the sun off my ears. You know, one of the things that you go through in the Marine Corps in boot camp is bleeding ears. Yes, folks, I've had my ears bleed from sunburn because the good old Marine Corps cover I'm wearing right here doesn't cover the ears. And when you have no hair covering your ears, and I haven't had hair covering my ears in many, many years, probably almost 40, you know, they're susceptible to burn. And in boot camp, they burned so much, they literally bled. I don't even remember at what point they healed up and stopped bleeding on me. But, so I wear a tilly hat to try and keep some of that sun off my face and ears and back of my neck. And actually it works pretty good. It does help keep things a little bit cooler. And I don't wear baseball caps, honestly, folks. Me in a baseball cap is, well, maybe not as bad as me in yoga pants, but it ain't good. No, I don't wear baseball caps. So once in a blue moon, I might throw one on because that's all I've got. I just don't look right in a baseball cap. My wife says I look all right in one of these. I don't know, maybe she's lying to me, but I wear them just because my daughter gave me one at one point. I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing here. I'm heading up this hill, and I guess I better watch what I'm doing. It's pretty rough ground. The rocking back and forth is, it's really not so much a problem for the mill. I mean, you don't want to bounce your mill around all the time. If you do, you're definitely going to end up doing more maintenance on it. But the camper, I mean, you're talking a lot of weight there. That camper fully loaded for 2 weeks can weigh all of 4,600 pounds or more. You know, I've dropped 25 gallons of water. And so you're talking over 4,000 pounds sitting on the back of the truck, held on by tie downs on the frame of the truck and torque lift fast guns, which have springs or shocks in them. Well, if you get it rocking too much, it can break off. I've actually seen pictures of campers that got caught in heavy winds that ripped the bed out of a truck completely off. Now that would take an awful lot of wind to do that, you know, probably 80-mile-an-hour wind or something. But it can happen, and so that's number one. Number two, as you rock back and forth going down the road, everything inside your camper is rocking back and forth, and it can knock the cupboards open, fall on the ground, you know, all kinds of stuff. So just not good. So we got to go slow over these rocks and just kind of take it easy. Just trying to avoid the bounce and the rock, and you can kind of see the rear view camera there. I like that camera. It gives me the opportunity to see the sawmill behind me. After blowing a tire on the interstate, I don't like that. not being able to see it. Just got a little bit more to go, maybe quarter mile or so, and then I'm on pavement. So I'm on my way to mill up about 3/4 of a day's worth of wood for another YouTuber. Actually, guy makes some amazing stuff. He's a carpenter, and I'll tell you, I do some carpentry. I'm a hack. This guy does beautiful work. I mean, he's a pro. Amazing work. So anyway, I'm gonna go mill some lumber for him. It should be a good time. And then from there, we're heading to Mullen, Idaho. So hang in there, folks. More coming to you. Thanks for watching. The old Jarhead out.